I want to take you back to 2007 when the Rockies won 14 of their last 15 regular season games, forced the tiebreaker with the Padres to get into the playoffs, which you guys won. And then you went on to rip off 7 straight playoff games on your way to the World Series. Clint, you were the manager of the team. Dan, you were GM. I'd like you guys to just share your emotions a little bit about, what you were thinking at the time and actually looking back on it now. How does that feel? I mean, it just winning 21 out of 22 games to get to the World Series is just a feat that no one's ever done. And I'm kind of curious on your emotions now, looking back on it.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear Clint's point of view on this one because I'm anxious to hear his emotion.
I don't think anybody saw that coming. I think what I've held on to and what I've noticed going into the season was a couple things happened before the 07 season. Number one, it was the way the 06 season ended with Aaron Cook throwing a complete game at Shea, us walking off. The whole team came out on the field to congratulate Aaron Cook. It had been a hard year, a learning year, but I think a year built around cohesion for our core group of players. And that last game was kind of just, I think everybody went out. They weren't just handshaking. They were hugging each other. It's like, we finished. We're better. We're going to be better. So I walked out the door holding on to that thought. And then as Dan will tell you, the 07 winner, the 6-7 winner, that was the one where we actually had trade conversations about Todd Helton with Boston. And it got to the point where, I think Todd and Dan would know better, but they all got together. And Todd said, you guys do what you want. This is Todd's version of me. I'd really like to stay. It wouldn't mean anything to win in Boston like it would mean to win something in Colorado. As that team was morphing into a young team with some core players in place that had won together before, Todd was, I think, the piece that first went out front and just said, hey, I want to be here. I want to be a part of this. I want to make it happen. So then we walk in the season, and as Dan will tell you, we muddled through the season, not in a bad way, but we were never cold and we were never hot. We played around 500 the whole year, and I'll tell you this, that Dan's got a lot of strengths, but one of the lightning points that he would continue to share with me when he goes, we haven't got hot yet. We haven't been hot yet. And he was true. It was accurate. We had not gotten hot. We had the players and pitchers to do something. It just had never happened. But I can remember the rock bottom point was in that month of September, probably sometime in the second week before we got hot, that we had blown a lead, and a reporter just put me to task saying, you guys are done. What do you tell the players? There's nothing left. You can't, you're out of it. And I just looked at him and asked him, I said, what would you tell your kid if he was on this team? You tell him just quit, go home? I said, you got to find a backbone. You got to find a funny bone. You got to find a wishbone. You got to find a bone, and you got to keep playing because you never know what's going to happen. And I even used Dan's line. I said, we still haven't gotten hot. They all laughed at me, but 2 days later we started getting hot. And I think the point was for me that we were steadfast. It's a sailing term, but we were steadfast throughout the year. Dan never overreacted. He didn't unreact. He was proactive in our moves. I've never felt more of being in a learning environment than I was with Dan. He took a young guy that had never managed in the major leagues and trusted him and poured into him. He put good people around me, but I had good staff and the players. But it was just for me to watch it all unfold. It's kind of like you're a dad and you're in the backyard watching your kids play. And they just keep getting better and better. And they just keep getting winning. And I just kept reminding myself, stay out of the way.